Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Polly's in the Bay Area. My name is Ruby. I'm a contracts consultant for Fanica Fangao Consulting LLC. I'm also the solo host for an original Islander business podcast called Pacific Business Podcasts, and co-host to an original Islander law show called Pacifica Legal Analysts. And I'm back today with my big sister Nita so we can share more stories from Polly's in the Bay Area. And here's my big sister.
Hi everyone, my name is Nita. I am co-owner of Continental Appliance. We are a family-owned appliance repair company, one of the few Polynesian appliance repair companies here located in San Francisco. We repair appliances such as washers, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, stoves, and hood ranges. We service the areas of San Francisco over to the East Bay and as far as Mountain View. I am also co-host for this podcast, Polly's in the Bay Area, and I'm grateful that to be here and to share this time with you all.
Yes, and we thank you for continuing to join us for these conversations where this year has been especially challenging. We shared a little about what's happening with us, with our family in particular, in our previous episode when we were on the road and we were talking about supporting a new college student, a first generation college student. And now we're going to get more into what's happening with our family and kind of an upheaval, or rather a change. So as you saw, the title of this episode is Elder Care, Lessons from a Pacific Family. And that Pacific family is our family. And we think we have some helpful tips for adult children taking care of their elderly parents, or if you're taking care of your elderly grandparents. But either way, we think there's some helpful knowledge to share, and we'd be interested in reading from your experiences as well. But let us get into our talk. This episode, it's coming from personal experience, our personal experience with hospice care, hospitalization, and dialysis. All three different positions in life, but they're relevant to taking care of elderly parents. We'll go more into what is hospice and hospitalization and dialysis as we get deeper into this talk. But we thought this might be interesting to American listeners because of the positive reactions we received when taking care of our beloved elderly mom. So what is happening with our elderly parent? Nita, you want to go into it? Just a vague description.
I think as we get older, we sometimes forget that our parents get older as well. That, sometimes we tend to forget that our parents are getting older just as we age as well. And with living here in the big, mainland, there's certain, things are happening to our elderly that we're not able to stop or, maybe possibly might be able to prevent. But sometimes the prevention that we want to, put into place, sometimes it comes at a later stage. And sometimes, so then now we're trying to, as the children of the, I believe they're called baby boomers. Now that, we're in a situation where we're taking care of our children, our families, going to work, and have to be also take care of our, elderly parents or elderly relative. So I think that's what's happening. It's trying to juggle all the things that are, that we have to deal with in life. I think maybe because they're, I know back home in the islands, they do take care of the elderly, but maybe because the, life is a little bit slower, people do work, and I do believe they have two person income, family, two income families there, where there's both adults might be working, but then they still have to find time to be able to take care of their elderly.
Yeah. Forgive us as you hear a little life in the background. It kind of speaks to the position we're at, where we're in between. We're deep in life. We're taking care of an elderly parent. We're living our lives, taking care of kids. We're also squeezing in this talk. So you may hear just persons walking back and forth because we are with the family. So thank you, Nita. That does speak to what's happening with our elderly parent in the big picture, like what's happening in society. Specifically, what's happening with our mom is that she just came out of hospitalization, and she's been a long time diabetic. And unfortunately, she's suffered kidney failure. So what happened was that she went through different resources, and in a good way, in that we're fortunate to still have our mom, who's in her 80s, not just around, but safe in our care. And we're traveling back and forth as we take her to get, the medicine that she needs. So earlier we had raised, these different positions that elderly patients go through, such as hospice. And hospice has a really negative stigma where, it conjures up like feelings of fear. No one wants to go to hospice on purpose. And typically that program, or those types of programs under hospice, they help the patient essentially prepare for death, in that they focus on comfort. So they don't usher it forward, but rather, when a patient is suffering and they might be, heading in that direction, hospice will step in and thank goodness for them, and just really increase the comfort as the patient, possibly prepares to transition over into a different stage of life. We were fortunate in that, although we did use the service, that mom came out of it. So not only is she not in hospice, but she's alive. She had transitioned over to hospitalization, and that just means taking mom to the hospital. She was admitted, and as many elders are, they have to go and have a hospital stay. So it's not really that alarming or that surprising, but we were concerned because this one lasted over a month. However, that allowed us we got discharged from hospice, and that allowed us to start dialysis. Now, what is dialysis? There's different types of dialysis, but they're all different types of treatment to help battle kidney failure. And it's unlike hospice, which is a passive way to help treat a patient in life. Dialysis is an aggressive type of treatments to help you stay alive, and so we were grateful that she was able to not only agree, but partake in dialysis. And that's the stage we're at. And again, it's no surprise that, for an elderly Pacific Islander woman, for the listeners from similar backgrounds, it's, not unfamiliar to you. You've heard of that happening either in your own family or families close to you. Again, we're bringing up this talk not just to give you an update, but we thought it might be of interest because when we were in the hospital, and then even now that mom is in dialysis here at home, a lot of the Americans, particularly Americans, are surprised and amazed at the treatment from our family. While we're surprised and amazed by the treatment from the staff, they're amazed and surprised by the treatment from mom's family. I mean, I think that emphasis kind of speaks to the possible culture clash. It's no surprise to the Pacific families listening about, the high quality of care that we give our elders. But if you think about it, it's kind of a shock to a lot of the American staff that help your elderly loved ones, because there's a certain level of dedication that we bring to our elderly parents and grandparents. Not just a dedication, but kind of progress. I almost said success, but I don't want to brag, but like the level of progress that happens as a result of using this type of style that, and it's not just dedication, it's also other contributions that we've made that, kind of turn heads of American staff, whether at the hospital, at dialysis, for physical therapy. I mean, time and time again, we're getting compliments from the staff saying, you guys are really good kids. Your mom is really lucky to have you. And it's nothing special about us. I personally think it's something special about our culture. There's something ingrained in the way we are taught and the dedication that we are committed to that is very impressive to, a culture where they focus more on their children and less on their parents and grandparents. So that's why we think this talk is going to be really powerful. And on to the next question. And this just kind of gives context to, who we're taking care of. Nita, who was our mom before she became elderly and vulnerable?
Our mom was very active. She was very independent. She was, a lot of times she was our pickup and drop-offs for school. I mean, our dad as well, as in other members of the family. But she was very, busy with especially with the types of businesses that they had. So she would, drop us off to school, but then also, make time to go to her work and then still be able to come and pick us up to go to our parent-teacher conferences and our, nights when we had back to school nights and activities at school. So mom was very active. And it wasn't just pertaining to us children. It was also to the family members, because mom was a registered nurse from Tonga. So a lot of times when somebody went to the hospital, if it was, any of our first cousins, mom was the one that was called to. And she would, because she spoke the lingo of the doctors, she would be able to decipher. She was able to decipher the, what the medical staff was talking about, and then just to be able to give calm the, the nervousness and the stress of the other family members that would be there. And when our cousins would call her, it was regarding maybe somebody was giving birth or things like that. And so mom was the one that would go to, to the hospital besides the parents of the, our cousin, whoever it may be that needed her to be there. And so, but she was very active, even at when there was already 4 of us, and when we had the foster care going on, even when there was the foster care going on, mom was still very active with that as well, going to their meetings, taking them to their appointments as well, and things like that. And so that's who our mom was. She was, she was a person that took care of her family besides, the extended family and besides of work. And then on top of that, our grandparents lived with us. The majority of the time, our grandparents lived with us. And so, she also helped take care of our grandmother and our grandfather as well. So she was just a very active person. She was not one to, she wasn't one to just, only focus on her own family. She focused on, her extended family as well. So that's who our mom was. She was just, that's who she was before she became elderly and vulnerable. Beautifully
said, Nita. And it's important what Nita said about who mom as an elderly person today, who she was before she became elderly and vulnerable, because it gives you context into who she is as a human being, because in today's society we reduce elderly people to their present health condition and forget the full weight of their personalities and contributions. So thank you for putting into context who Mom was and is, that she's more than just being a diabetic elderly person. She's way more than that. So why are we hands-on with the care of our mom? Why do you think we are hands-on with the care of Mom, Nita? That concludes our preview from Season 2, Episode 2 of Polly's in the Bay Area podcast. Follow us over to Spotify and look up Polly's in the Bay Area. This talk is on elder care. To hear more on how we work together as a family and pool resources and just continue to support each other, especially our matriarch, make sure to go and check out our podcast. Thank you.